Hi, I'm Dr. Patrick Andersen of Madison Max Living. There are literally thousands of articles and studies published every day. Finding the most pertinent and useful natural health information can be a daunting task. It's easy to be overwhelmed with the volume of information and difficult to know what to do next. On Max Living, we'll filter these articles and studies to bring you and your family the best natural healthcare news. Join co-host Stacy Hansen and myself coming up next.
Welcome back to Max Living with Dr. Patrick Andersen. We're going through more natural health care news for you. Dr. Pat, I have a great article I'm actually really excited about. This one is the 7 most economical superfoods and how to use them. I think when we hear superfood, there's always a new superfood.
Yeah, and it's going to cost way too much.
Yeah, really. So this is a great article. Number 1 on here is coconut oil, and I have to admit, I don't use coconut oil. I bet you do. Mm-hmm. How do you use it?
Well, you can put it in your smoothies. It's got a lot of proper fats in it that are helpful for you.
The good
You
kind.
can even use it as a sunscreen. It's a great skin conditioner.
I bet it is.
It has so many uses. It can be a carrier if you use any essential oils. It's a nice carrier for that.
Okay.
It's very healthy for the skin.
Does it smell like coconut?
Mm-hmm.
Organic strawberries is number 2, and gosh, this is a great time for strawberries. And going organic, I've heard, there's a few that they say you should really go organic, and strawberries, I remember, is one of them.
Strawberries is one of them because they're traditionally high in pesticides.
Mm-hmm. And aren't they like super absorbent, so they can really suck them in.
Yeah. But so they're such a superfood, but that's one where you want to get the organic.
Truth be told, I'll sit and eat a whole, what is that, a pint, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been known to eat the whole thing at once. Number 3 is quinoa, and I'm a fan of that. I've actually been mixing it into salads. Mm-hmm. How do you use that?
Well, we have a recipe on one of our past shows where we use it with like chicken and then layer it over with some pesto sauce and then put that over a bed of spinach. I mean, it's just a wonderful meal. It's high protein, which is really fascinating for it. It's really high protein. Yeah,
that's what that says here. They are calling it maybe the super grain of the future.
Yep.
It says it's a complete protein and lots of fiber too. Mm-hmm. Number 4, another fan of bananas. Okay, it says here that bananas are one of the most widely consumed fruits in the world. I know I'm contributing to that data right there. I have one almost every day.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. It says here that some people have said they're too high in sugar and carbohydrates, but they say actually they are filled with nutrition and super affordable.
So they are a little higher in sugar, so if someone's really watching their sugar intake, you want to watch your bananas and sweet fruits. You tend to want to have low glycemic fruits.
And bananas wouldn't be one of those.
Right.
Good to know.
That would be berries. Berries would be very low glycemic. Okay.
Number 5, there's 7 of these. Number 5 is sweet potatoes. They have a lot of vitamin A, vitamin C, manganese, copper, and a few others I can't pronounce. And lots of potassium too.
Well, that's what's interesting about natural foods if they're grown well with soils that aren't depleted and hopefully more organic than not. You're going to get all kinds of nutrients that we don't even know yet. Mm-hmm. Nutrition is only 100 years old or so. So there are things and ways that nutrients work together naturally that we don't even know yet. So you can't take something and just compact it thinking you know everything. The whole food base really has the nutrition you need. So stick with that with natural, clean processes that are replenishable.
Like a sweet potato. I actually like those. Those are easy to stick in a crock pot and you come home and they're all set to go. All right, this is a new one for me, Himalayan pink sea salt. Mm-hmm. It says table salt is not the same. Do you know why that is?
They don't have enough other nutrients with it. Table salt is like 98% sodium chloride, whereas Himalayan salt is like 85 or so percent, or 80%, and then there's nutrients that are naturally occurring with that are very helpful for people.
Yeah, we hear about processed foods, and it actually says that table salt is a highly processed food with few minerals.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend table salt. I would use Himalayan pink salt. Seems to be the best way to go.
Sounds pretty too. One more before we head to the break, and that's spinach. Love spinach. That is a superfood and super affordable too.
Yeah, it is. And it's nothing like sauteing spinach or using a double boiler and put some spinach in it and then 5 minutes later, salt, pepper, butter, not margarine.
I have it every morning with my eggs.
Oh, that's awesome. And they're great for smoothies as well.
All right, well, we'll come back with more natural health care news for you right after this break.
Have your questions for Dr. Pat answered on an episode of Maximize Living. Send your email to drpat@wi57.tv.
Welcome back to Max Living, where Dr. Patrick Andersen helps us sort out all the healthcare news out there. What do you have for us right now, Dr. Pat?
Well, I've got one from Dr. Mercola. He's a website phenomenon, drmercola.com. Lots of good information on that. And these are the 9 foods you should never eat.
Oh, how funny. We just got done talking about superfoods, the ones you should eat.
Well, what shouldn't you eat?
Okay.
So, number 1 is here, canned tomatoes.
Oh.
And it's because the tomatoes are acidic and there's BPA in the lining of cans, and the acidity of the can is pulled out by the tomatoes, and it's a hormone disruptor.
Oh, I've heard about those. Yeah.
So
okay, good to
really want to
know.
limit BPA, and they're working to ban it and replace it, but even the replacements have issues too. So that's where I just don't like eating canned foods very much, if you can avoid them at all.
Yeah, or maybe ones in jars.
Yeah, in jars or
Something like
frozen.
that. Yeah, or frozen.
Yeah. The next one would be processed meats. There's nitrites often in these meats, and they're often from animals raised in confined conditions, which nobody really likes to see. But the nitrites that are added to these will turn into nitrosamines in your body, and they're known and listed as cancer-causing.
Wow.
There's hazardous compounds like, heterocyclic amines, HCAs, polycyclic or aromatic hydrocarbons, PHAs, and you may hear some of these.
Gesundheit.
Yeah, exactly. And advanced glycation end products. Basically, all those things that happen when processed meats and the nitrates in it are heated, and the smoke gets into the meat, and they are known to be carcinogenic. So
that's like hot dogs and our lunch meats and things like that?
And here's from this article: the truth is, processed meats are not a healthy choice for anyone, and should be avoided entirely, according to a 2011 review of more than 7,000 clinical studies examining the connection between diet and cancer. The report was commissioned by the World Cancer Research Fund, using money raised from the general public, and so therefore the findings were not influenced by any vested interests, which makes it all more reliable.
Yeah, there's lots of good things about that study. The numbers are pretty big, and you always want to look at who's paying for the study to be done.
And if I'm not mistaken, the World Health Organization said that processed meats are not fit for human consumption.
Oh my gosh. Well, if that's not enough, and that's a never ever statement there too, which is a pretty big statement. Next
one is margarine. Remember how important it was to eat margarine?
Yeah.
Well, even Time magazine came out 6 months ago or a year ago and said, eat butter. We were wrong. Margarine is trans fats, and now we know how bad margarine is for you.
Huh, it's gone back and forth, kind of like eggs.
Well, yeah, eggs were always good for you, and butter was always good for you. It was never bad for you.
Right, all along,
yeah. All along.
That's why we need Dr. Pat, because this news just goes back and forth.
Vegetable oils, number 4. Vegetable oils can be heated and cause issues, this article's talking about, where they become rancid and they become oxidized cholesterol under too much heat.
Yeah, we've talked about this before on this show.
Yeah.
That's cancer-causing, isn't it?
Right, and inflammation causing. It also upsets the omega-6, omega-3 ratio, which most Americans are way too high in. Omega-6s, the trans fats, the junk food drives that.
And the
and
omega-3s.
The vegetable oils.
Yeah.
So, I ate Fritos growing up.
You did?
With vegetable oils. I wasn't a health food nut.
I can't picture it.
I saw food, I ate it. Until I went to school and learned what I was doing. But I look back and I said, my gosh, that was bad to have that much vegetable oil. And I thought vegetable oil would be healthy. It isn't. Its ratios are totally wrong. Microwave popcorn has chemicals in the bag that get into the popcorn and are very harmful.
Really? I never knew that.
Yeah. And likely carcinogenic.
And again, this is a list of foods never ever to eat. You have anything left? We've got to go to break.
Well, let's go to break and we'll come back with more.
All right, we'll be back with more right after this.
Have your questions for Dr. Pat answered on an episode of Maximize Living. Send your email to drpat@wi57.tv.
Welcome back to Max Living with Dr. Patrick Andersen. We're picking up where we left off. You were talking about the 9 foods we should never eat. Never's a big statement too,
Isn't
so
it?
This is important stuff.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine how much healthier people would do if they just dropped one food a week that they shouldn't eat and added one of the new ones on the superfood list.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And that's how you do it. It just gradual changes, and pretty soon that's what you want to eat. And then the bad stuff doesn't even taste good anymore. That's what people don't realize.
Yeah. So,
Dr. Mercola, first one was canned tomatoes. Processed meats was number 2. Number 3 was margarine. Number 4 is vegetable oil, so a better oil is coconut oil or olive oil.
okay.
Or grapeseed oil, avocado oil, those are better for you. Olive oil you don't want to cook too high temperature because that can be an issue for olive oil. Number 5, microwave popcorn.
That still surprises me.
Yeah, I don't like microwave anything.
Oh,
I think more will come out that denatures food
Yeah.
and causes issues. We already know that microwaving the wrong plastic bowl gets those plastics into the
food.
Into the food.
Right.
Number 6 is non-organic produce, known for high pesticide contamination. So avoid things like non-organic strawberries, apples, cucumbers, spinach, celery. An environmental working group online you can look up, and they always come out with the top 15.
What do they call it? Like Dirty Dozen? Yeah, I've heard that
and the
before.
Clean 15. That's a good list to always look at. And so the fruit, the ones that are okay to eat, typically non-organic, are like avocados, asparagus, grapefruit, onions, eggplant.
Asparagus. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Asparagus.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing that you
They say it's
peel.
low. It's low in pesticide residuals.
Huh, I wonder why that is.
Yeah.
It makes
There's
sense.
nothing you peel. That's,
Right, yeah, it makes sense for something like maybe a banana where you're peeling off the outside.
Right.
And even if it got touched by pesticides, no effect.
You know, I'm glad avocados are good. They're fine to eat non-organic because that's just such a valuable food. That high quality fats in an avocado.
I think I have some every day.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my nutrition instructors said, eat an avocado every day.
Yeah, do you?
Pretty much,
Pretty
yeah.
much. How do you eat yours?
I'll put it in a sandwich.
In a sandwich. I need to do that.
I'll mix it with salsa and use it as a dip.
Oh, really?
And you can use it.
You mean you mash it up?
Mash it up.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Huh, I just cut mine.
My son eats avocado all the time in hummus.
Oh, nice.
Except when he first made it, when he was like 11 years old, he made it with his fingers. The guacamole with his fingers. You know, it was a little harder to eat when he made it with his fingers. The 7th one is table salt.
That's a never ever.
Yeah.
Okay.
And natural salt is 84% sodium chloride, but the processed salt is 98%. So what you really want is all those trace minerals from like the Himalayan pink salt we were talking about.
I thought we needed like iodine or something from salt.
Yeah, you do, but you'll get it from your Himalayan salt. And
Oh, you
also
will?
iodine is one of the supplements that's very inexpensive, that people could supplement a few drops of that every day. It's very healthy.
Okay.
The next one is soy protein isolate. So soy tends to be kind of gender bending, estrogenic. So watch soy because it's such a high predominance of it, 90–95% is actually GMO.
Where would people find that in their food, I guess?
Anytime you see a soy isolate.
Does it list what kinds of foods that's in?
No, it doesn't.
Huh, I wonder what that one is.
And it could also be called bouillon, natural flavor, and textured plant protein. There's a couple other names on the labels. That's why label reading is so important.
Yeah.
And then the next one is artificial sweeteners. Those are well known to increase appetite, it says, and increase carbohydrate cravings and stimulate fat storage and weight gain. So
Those little packets, huh?
And you know, I've seen it on nighttime shows. Is how come everyone who drinks Diet Coke is heavy?
Oh, maybe that's why.
And so that's one thing that just upsets your system, and it's considered to be very extremely unhealthy in the long run.
We're going to have to go to break, Dr. Pat. And you got any more on there?
That's it.
That's it for that one. We'll be back with more natural healthcare news for you.
Have your questions for Dr. Pat answered on an episode of Maximize Living. Send your email to drpat@wi57.tv.
Welcome back to Max Living with Dr. Patrick Andersen. We're covering natural health care news for you. Dr. Pat, I have an article here that says these are 5 good reasons to reduce your alcohol intake. That might be kind of hard this time of year. Seems like summer's a time for lots of little bit more drinking, partying, and outdoor barbecues and all that. Well, 5 reasons. This research is from the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism. They mentioned the effects of alcohol can be immediate on your brain. I think most people have experienced that. But the important ones are maybe the ones that happen over time. They mention affecting your memory, nerve damage, and brain damage. That sounds pretty serious. Second reason is alcohol and osteoporosis. That might be new for some people. Osteoporosis, and we often think of women for that, but it can affect men too.
Yes.
So guys, listen up. This is from the Mayo Clinic. There's a reputable source. That just drinking 2 or more alcoholic beverages a day can increase your risk of osteoporosis. And they're thinking that it somehow affects your body's ability to absorb calcium, which would contribute to your bone strength. Number 3 is alcohol and liver damage. I think a lot of us are familiar with those issues like cirrhosis. That's scarring of the liver. It says 10 to 20% of people who drink heavily will experience cirrhosis. The other is fatty liver disease. This one, they say almost all people who abuse alcohol have fatty liver disease. But the good news, it says once you stop drinking, the disease will usually regress. The body is so forgiving sometimes.
It really is.
It's amazing. Makes me think of smoking, and they say as soon as you stop smoking, your body starts to.
It's amazing how the lungs can clear.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, on the brain issue there, what I find fascinating is that people will drink alcohol and many times to excess, but you don't store memories very well. And when you think about that, you don't remember the meaningful memories and talks and relationships you may thought were meaningful at the time, really don't get stored very well because your brain is under the influence of alcohol.
At the time?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Number 4 is having to do with cancer. Boy, it just seems like everything can contribute. People who drink heavily are at a higher risk of developing a certain types of cancer, and some of the types they list are breast cancer, liver, colon, rectal, larynx, pharynx, and mouth cancer. And the last one is addiction. I've always thought that it had a lot to do with genes too, and everybody's a little bit different in whether you crave alcohol or not. Their advice here is that if you can't seem to stop drinking once you start, you probably just simply need to abstain.
And I like the idea of drinking a big glass of water between each drink.
Oh, how does that just fill you up, or and does that affect the effect of alcohol?
Well, it'll dilute it more.
Dilute it more?
Yeah. And the one I remember from a doctor I talked with, that he said there is no safe level of alcohol for cancer prevention.
Oh, wow.
There is no safe level. And so more is changing to that. And others say, you know, a glass of wine is fine.
You know, I think I feel a little fortunate. I've never really looked to alcohol. If I'm going to spend those kind of calories, I want to spend it on a cookie.
Well, for me, it's dark chocolate.
Yeah. All right. You're watching Max Living, and we'll be right back.
Have your questions for Dr. Pat answered on an episode of Maximize Living. Send your email to drpat@wi57.tv.
Thank you for watching our show on Natural Healthcare News. After listening, I hope you are left with a sense of how amazing the human body is. By putting the latest studies to work in your lifestyle, you can absolutely drive better health. One of the best things you can do to drive better health for you and your family is to make sure you have a sound structure and nervous system. This means that a chiropractic checkup is essential for optimal health. Call 608-833-1282 for a checkup appointment today. For Max Living, I'm Dr. Patrick Andersen. Until next time, live well and God bless.
Have your questions for Dr. Pat answered on an episode of Maximize Living. Send your email to drpat@wi57.tv.